Hello, my name is Waylon Lewis, and every week we'll bring you a new podcast with Elephant Journal. Hey friends, this is Waylon Lewis, and today is feeling pretty good with a looks like real ceasefire deal with the Biden administration, the incoming Trump administration, both contributing to what will hopefully be lasting peace in Gaza and Israel. What we are talking about is very appropriate to that, which I'm having my dear Instagram friend Anjie Cho come on in a minute, and we're going to talk about the new year with new beginnings. Why are we talking about the new year on, what is it, January whatever? It's because I grew up in the Buddhist tradition of the Lunar New Year, which can be Tibetan, it can be Chinese, you can call it the Eastern New Year. If all of you want to say where in the world you're tuning in from, always fun to see the international community. I've got Winnie here hanging out. Where is he? There he is. Hanging out. We're in the Elephant HQ, which I almost never work from. Just hearing from me about sort of Shambhala or Buddhist New Year, we're actually going to have someone who knows what they're talking about this year. So, welcome. Hey!
Hi. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Well, it's not yet, right? All right, we have Northern California, Northern Arizona, British Columbia, Victoria. Angie, where are you tuning in from?
I'm in New York City.
New York City. We have Panama, we have Mexico.
Wow.
Maybe a few others. Sonoma County, California. Obviously, a big love and healing to everyone in California. But climate crisis is at work, and our whole world needs healing. So that brings us back to, what are we talking about with this new year, the second new year?
Yes. Well, so we're talking today about the Lunar New Year, which is celebrated by actually millions of people around the world, especially in the East. So we could also call it the Eastern New Year.
Yeah.
And it comes up on January 29th. So it's actually the second new moon after the winter solstice. And it marks the beginning of spring, which also sounds weird on January 29th, but it's marking the beginning of spring, the spring festival. But it's another new year, and I think it's a wonderful time to consider fresh starts and new beginnings and transition.
Yeah, so I grew up with the Western New Year being sort of about, at least in your imagination, about tuxedos and the ball dropping and people partying and singing Old Lang Syne. I love that song by Robbie Burns. And that was sort of about it. And then the Eastern New Year was a much bigger. What's that?
Resolutions.
Yeah, resolutions, which I never really did. We've written about that and covered that on Elephant, how to do resolutions with a sense of maitri or self-love, instead of being like, I will be happy if I can lose 5 pounds and keep it off. Like wanting to be different or other. Like the Buddhist saying, I think by Suzuki Roshi, says, you are perfect as you are, and you could use some work. But then the Eastern New Year, which we just called the Shambhala New Year in my community, or the Tibetan New Year, but as you said, the Chinese New Year, it's celebrated all over, slightly different dates sometimes, was much more meaningful, and we would gather as a community and have talks. And what is the sort of theme? Some years are friendlier than others, some are challenging. What is the theme for this coming year?
So we're saying goodbye to the last year, which is the year of the dragon, and we're welcoming in the year of the snakes, the Yin Wood Snake. So we're kind of letting go of an energy that I think everyone can kind of tap into, that feeling of the energy of a dragon versus the energy of a snake. It's a lot like in scale, it's a lot more, it's less flamboyant, it's less huge, it's more subdued and more subtle, more grounded, right?
Right.
Like a dragon's in the sky and the snake is on the earth and doesn't fly. So but every year we encounter a different energy. There's like a 12-year cycle, and there's kind of like archetypal energies associated with each year. And it's an invitation to kind of look at, like, just like the cycles in our natural world, the seasonal cycles with that come around. There's also a cycle in a day, right? And then there's also the moon cycle. So it's just another larger cycle that we look at to give us some insight on how to really navigate and also embrace the transition. And there's also something really nice where I think what you're pointing to with the Lunar New Year is it's actually like it's like a celebration to invite in something new, like that energy of a seed bursting through a shell and unfurling into a new growth. That's also what the Lunar New Year is about.
So, snake, I think in the West, at least, a lot of us have kind of negative associations with snakes. We're like afraid of sharks and snakes, when in reality, you know, what's the cliche? Like, vending machines kill more people than snakes. You know, we should be afraid of climate crisis and, you know, car accidents and, you know, things like that, gun violence, heart disease, and maybe civil unrest could be added to that one. But what is the snake? Is it something we should be afraid of?
Definitely not. I mean, I guess if you, in real life, if you saw a snake, you would want to maybe ask. I don't know. You know, I grew up in California where you do see a lot of snakes.
Yeah.
So in a practical sense, of course, you want to be aware, just like with like another, if there was like a wild animal, for instance. But we're looking at archetypes. We're looking at that energy. And I think as a symbol, the snake definitely in Western culture has been a little bit vilified. Like we think of in Christianity,
right.
The snake and in the Garden of Eden. And also a lot of people do have a fear of snakes when a lot of them are not harmful or won't attack you without any if you don't provoke them, right?
And
but
not only that, in a positive way, most snakes, if not all snakes, like all animals and insects, play you know, a positive role in the ecosystem. Snakes can actually be a positive sign. Like when you see birds or you see insects, you know there's life, and that life is surviving, and that you haven't poisoned all of it.
Yeah. Well, I think with snakes in the if we look at symbology, and this is not just from the Eastern point of view, but if we even look in the Western point of view, if you start to study the symbol of the snake, there's actually a lot of wisdom that comes with the snake. They're connected to healing, to transformation. If you even just look at how a snake conducts itself in the world, right? So a snake is very close to the ground. A snake meanders, and it doesn't go in a direct route. A snake also, the biggest thing the snake is known for is its transformation, right? That the snake can completely shed its skin. And so those are some invitations and ways that you can begin to understand, like, what is the snake year going to mean to me, and how does it affect us? And then there's like another layer. There's a layer of an elemental quality. So this year is Yin Wood. Last year was Yang Wood. And then there's also, it goes further and further into, like, you know, how each animal can interact, each energy will interact with the year energy, which so we have a post on elephant that goes into every animal and a little bit about each energy, and you can look up your year. I know for you, you're tiger, right?
I'm tiger. I forget if I'm wood or what I am. I think I'm wood. I'm 1974, but for some reason I can't remember. But yeah, there's wood, there's metal, there's, I forget what else.
Fire, earth, and water. The 5 elements. Yeah. And Kelsey, your wife, congratulations.
Thank you. All because of you.
I'll take it. I do share your success story often. It gives people hope.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually should have had her here. We were both at the cafe, and then I ran over here. She was like, "Do you want me to come?" I was like, No, you be comfortable. I kind of forgot we were going to be on the video together.
Oh, that's okay.
All
But she's your good luck charm this year because she's a monkey. And I looked up her because I had her birth date, and she's a monkey, and monkey is actually the best relationship with the snake. So
Ooh.
she's going to be your saving grace because it's not very good for the tiger this year. The relationship between the tiger and the snake is quite challenging, but it's so for you it's about laying low and really taking care of yourself, and then relying on your friends, and one of them is your wife who's a monkey, because the idea is that people often think, oh, it's a snake year and I'm a snake, it's good for me, it's my year, but
Yeah.
really it's the invitation is actually not to make it about you, but instead look at your environment. Who are the people around you? What is the energy around you? What's the energy of the time of year? What's the energy of the year? What's the energy of the people? And how can you surround yourself with supportive relationships that complement you, that support you, rather than looking at how do I like do everything on my own and I'm the best, you know?
Right. I like that perspective. That's generally the perspective I have been trained to have in life. Is not like all about me. I am a factor in my own life, obviously, and we don't want to denigrate ourselves or minimize ourselves, but it's not really about me. It's about us and service and the path forward. So if I'm going to have a really hard year, I need to lay low and take care of myself and rely on, uh, nourishing friends or helpful friends. And for monkeys, and I'm sure other signs, they're going to have just a great old time.
Basically.
Yeah.
Well, she has more luck on her side. So
Yeah.
people born in the year of the monkey have more luck on their side. Also, they form a snake also has a harmony with those born in the year of the ox and those born in the year of the rooster. But if you're born in the year of the snake, if you're born in the year of the tiger, or you're born in the year of the pig, those are really challenging relationships in this zodiac system. And what it means again is that, you know, it's like there's winter time, there's summertime. It
Right.
can't always be summertime.
Right.
So instead, like this is not the year for you, Waylon, to burn the candle at both ends.
Right.
Hand it to somebody else to hold.
But is this a year where, like, we're looking at moving and we're looking at, which is a big deal because I grew up in Boulder, and with the exception of some time on the East Coast in Boston and Vermont,
Mm-hmm.
Boulder has been my home. Selling my house, moving to, a different place and all that. That sounds really active and outgoing. So is that a problem? Or do I
Actually,
be
no.
okay?
My teacher's teacher, like, so my root teacher said that one of my root teachers, anyway, he said that actually a good way to change your chi is to do something like get married or move, like, or go
Right.
on a trip. So doing something like that actually changes your chi.
And then what are the other, I think you already said, but there are a few questions, people saying I'm a piggy from 1983, mom's a snake.
Yeah.
What about a goat? How's the relationship for goats?
So Molly, maybe we can make sure that the elephant post is shared, but
Yeah.
you can look more in detail there. But for goat, it'll be neutral. So goat is also known on my list. I listed as ram. So goat, ram, sheep, same animal.
Okay.
That'll be a neutral year. So not great, not horrible. And then pig, as I said before, pig is a real challenging year, and also snake. So you need to find some monkeys around you, or okay, so it sounds like this person who is in the chat, they're a pig but their mom is a monkey, so hang out with your mom more. Yeah. And you can also, I sent you one, you'll get it soon if you don't have it already, these monkey amulets that you can carry around with you at all times. But you can also check out the post, or you can, they have like cute little like monkey things. You can make your own, but I sell these.
So if you go to elephantjournal.com right now, you'll see Angie's post. Mm-hmm. Follow Angie, read her post, share it, learn from it. But also we can go to your website. What's your website?
It's holisticspaces.com.
Holistic Spaces. And then, you'll find all about Dragon and Piggy and snakes. And
Yes.
so, but you kind of casually said it's not a great year, it's not a horrible year. So does that sort of mean that it's a horrible year for me and you're just being constructive?
It's a very challenging year. Like for
Yeah.
me, the dragon and dragon year was a really challenging year.
Okay.
Very challenging.
But it seems like you're doing so well from the outside.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it was, I mean, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're also fairly young and healthy, but I think that it was not a good year. And the year prior, 2023, was also a challenging year for the dragon because it was a rabbit year. And in the rabbit year, I fell twice. I had stitches. I have a scar now. I went to the emergency room. A lot of things happened. So, but I think with the invitation, when it's a time that's not auspicious for you, is like, are you working against the energy that's just present with you? Like, are you trying to push something that is beyond your ability? Are you, like, for me, I was like, the reason why I fell was because I'm always like running around doing a million things, and I was running to the bus. Like, why do you need to run to the bus, right? So the message was like, you need to slow down. You need to slow down. You need to pay attention. Your health is going to now be at risk. And we're going to, and your face is going to, you're going to have a scar on your face now.
Right.
And I fell twice in a 1 month period.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then I sprained my ankle. So, so things can happen, but it's like that, that saying where they say, you never know if it's going to be good or bad. Right. So it's not good or bad, but in general, it's not going to be like it's not going to be a super easeful year. No.
Right. I like that because from the Buddhist tradition, that's how it was. It wasn't like good or bad. It wasn't like the parts of astrology that I don't always respect or like. It was more like you need to be extra mindful because it's going to be a lot of bumps. It's going to be like a whitewater year, and you have to be extra mindful and attentive and aware. And if you're running for the bus, look out for the little chinks in the sidewalk or whatever. Like, you just have to be not caught up in your own speediness or trips or whatever.
Exactly.
Someone just asked again, Jackie, about
the rat.
Yeah, so we can answer that. But again, your wonderful article is front page of elephantjournal.com, and folks can read that for more depth and to see all the combos and who, monkeys, but others that they want to keep extra close this year.
Yeah, so the rat actually has an excellent relationship with the dragon, which was last year. And this year it's neutral. So you're kind of riding the waves of like having a really lucky year last year. So each animal is different. And someone earlier asked like how this affects your sun sign. So the thing is that Western astrology and the Eastern astrology, the signs are not actually that different. So if you visualize like your watch or clock and you see the 12 numbers, and they relate to the 12 zodiac animals in both systems, except you would turn it half an hour. One would be half an hour off. So basically it's the same system, but it's like a little off. It's just like in between.
That's like one of those Tom Hanks movies when they're running around trying to solve Leonardo DiCaprio or whatever. What am I saying? Leonardo da Vinci mysteries. Yeah, so that's a good point that Jackie just brought up. Sometimes we expect to have a great year, but then in our mind it's awful, or the opposite. We think it's going to be difficult, but somehow it's a breakthrough year. How does that compute with all this sort of advice?
Yeah, so the zodiac, well, one thing is also, okay, with in the Chinese system, let's call it the 4 pillars. There's actually 4 pillars, 4 animals. So you have a year animal, you also have a month animal, you have a day animal, and an hour animal. So like, for instance, like 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the rat hour. And also like right now, so like rat month is like there's an animal connected to the month, and then there's an animal connected to a specific day. And someone asked like about a cautious day or year. It's just like I'm giving just a general insight on the whole year of the snake, but it's not like it starts on January 29th and it ends next year. It's not like a switch that flips off. It's just like the seasons, it's gradual.
Right.
Just like the sun starts to set slowly. These are, these are like slow transitions, and also like if we look at nature, so a prediction, like a forecast, is a forecast like the weather. So it may not rain, but the advice is to bring an umbrella. So if you had a terrible year, there's also different factors. So I'm actually not a Chinese astrologer. So the way I use the zodiac is in conjunction with Feng Shui. So I take kind of broad, I'm looking at the overview, but there are Chinese astrologers that can specifically look at your natal chart, look at all your 4 pillars and give you more fine-tuned things. But I mean, we're talking to everybody now, so you have to talk to everyone at this time. But in general, like, it's a forecast. So again, like, it may not rain, it may snow, but it's likely that if it's like summer, it may not be like snow, right?
Hey, I'm going to try to get Kelsey over here, so I'm going to text her.
Okay.
So say something helpful.
You know what? I can talk about the Yin Wood aspect of the year. So the Yin Wood aspect of the year, so there's the animal aspect and the zodiac animal, and then there's an elemental example. So for instance, it's a Yin Wood year. Last year was Yang Wood. And if you're familiar with yin and yang, yang is like bright like the sun, it's bigger energy, where yin is very subdued like the moon. It's more intuitive, more internal, it's darker. And so that can also give us a way to kind of understand how the energy is going to shift from a bigger, more dramatic energy, that vibrant energy, to something that's much more quiet, subdued, unconscious, non-conscious, intuitive, things that are happening underneath the surface, and are not totally visible. And that also aligns with the energy of like how a dragon's really big, a bigger energy than the snake. You might accidentally step on a snake, they could get underfoot, right? Where you would probably not miss a dragon in the room.
Yeah.
So there's a question, let's see. Salt 130 asked, other than finding good energy in monkeys, what can snakes do to welcome good energy? As a snake, I feel like it's been one thing on top of another since 2022. Big lessons. Yeah. So let's say for everybody, not just snakes, right? So what are things that everybody can do that will be supportive in this transition time? So some things are, you can really contemplate this idea of this more subtle energy, and also really tie into this idea that this time of year is a celebration of spring. And I know that, like, especially in New York City, it's super cold today, and it doesn't feel like spring, but it's more about the promise of spring. Like, even like in tea ceremony and in Gabbana, you're not inspired by what is happening right now, because what is if it's spring right now, you're kind of a little bit ahead of it. So you would always use spring flowers before they're on their way out. So when a flower is in bloom, it means it's kind of already past. So you're looking for something that's about to come up. So that's why we're looking at spring is already happening at the Lunar New Year. And also this idea that things are happening below the surface that you can't see. So it invites us to trust beyond what we can see. Because, like, I think traditionally in Asia, what they would do is, like, they'd put like this bamboo stick under the ground, and if it floated in a certain way, it meant that it was the beginning of spring, because it's looking to what's happening underneath the surface, not based on something that's already right in front of your face. So we can start to consider that. And then there's some like general things that everyone can do. So the monkey is a great one, to make friends with the monkey, specifically for someone who's having a challenging year, like snake, pig, or what was it? Snake, pig, or
me? Tiger?
Tiger, yeah. Is to also look to the qualities of the snake that may trigger you a little bit, that feel like part of your shadow side. Like there's like, and for the snake, it's time to look in the mirror a little bit, because when it's your year, you're in the hot seat, and it's time to look at yourself. So also, like, as a tiger, like, what are some of the things that you don't resonate with as that represent snake, and how can you start to see the beneficial qualities of that? Same with the pig.
And what are some of those qualities that a tiger or snake or whatever might have a particularly difficult time with? Like the laying low, the kind of...
Well, tigers tend to be very independent and very territorial. And also, so there's an invitation maybe. Also, well, it's also you can learn from the monkey too. Because so the tiger, so all animals can look to what they can learn from the monkey and the snake. So both the monkey and the snake like kind of meander. They don't take a straight line. Like the tiger is very direct. And so you can, if we do Shambhala talk, you could say you could maybe do more aimless wandering in your life.
Right.
That can mean literally taking more aimless wandering walks, something as simple as that. But it can also be like, are there like leaps you're taking in your life that you don't have to always take the direct path? You take the scenic route instead.
Right. That's interesting.
And then for the, like, for instance, for the pig is said to be like very like diplomatic, very they like to enjoy themselves. Like they're the last in the zodiac because the story goes that they like had a picnic and hung out and took a nap before they, and we're happy to slide in last on the race. So so maybe there's an invitation to like to not to kind of fritter away your time on luxuries, but be more like focused on what you want to do. So again, I'm not a Chinese astrologer. I am a Feng Shui expert that incorporates the astrology into what I do, and I take broad strokes. So I would recommend that you can look, if you're interested in this, I would hire a qualified Chinese astrologer to look into your chart. That would be the best.
But to give you credit, I will say, like, every year in the Buddhist tradition with the New Year's, we would have someone throw the I Ching and talk about the meaning of the year. And these people weren't necessarily experts, but they had a certain knowledge and, like you said, incorporated into their life and their craft or their work. So, yeah, I feel like this is one department where, having a understanding of it is helpful and important and the key thing, not necessarily being, devoting your whole life to it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, also, actually, I can use the Chinese zodiac in many different ways in Feng Shui that have nothing to do with predicting someone's personal, doing someone's personal natal chart. Like you can overlay it on their home, on the Bagua, pick auspicious dates. There's a lot of other ways that we use it, or like you create the harmonies in someone's home using the placements, because they actually align, that zodiac wheel aligns with the Feng Shui Bagua map too. But
that's
I would
so
say,
interesting. I love that.
But let's go back to the question that people had in general. They're like, what, so what are things that you can do in general, like to invite in the new year? So again, the Lunar New Year is January 29th. And so it's an auspicious date. And what everyone can do on or around that date is that you can open up all your windows for, if you can, 9 minutes. And then I always get someone in Canada that refuses whatever I say that. So you could open it up just really quickly, but opening up all the windows and doors to the outside for 9 minutes and allowing the chi, the fresh air, to come in and refresh your home. And you could even visualize that, like, when all the doors, all the apertures are open, you inhale and you exhale. And you also, when you're inhaling and exhaling, you can do that 9 times. Visualize that the home is also inhaling with you and exhaling with you. And just like that breath work will refresh your personal chi and help to reset you, it will reset the chi for your home, because your home is also a living entity that is your partner in your life, your silent partner that you maybe don't always pay attention to, right?
Yeah, I think I I think I pretty much do. I love my home.
So you're
And,
moving out of your home?
yeah, it's going to be tough. But, the same love that made me love my home will hopefully go into new home.
Are you moving?
So
I saw it. Are you moving to Canada?
well, my mom, is getting older and just had a surgery. She's up in Canada. And then, for Kelsey, we want to be, she and her ex have been, sharing custody more or less. We want to be closer to her son. So likely moving to the Midwest to do
Oh,
that.
the Midwest.
Yeah. So it's a big time of moving and, probably selling this office as well. And, you know, community and just everything. It's a lot.
Yeah, a lot of new beginnings. That could be aligned with what's going to be challenging for you.
Yeah, I think so. I think I enjoy new communities and new homes and all that, but I think it's I have a lot of sort of community and sort of residual strength here that it's easy to take, not for granted because I really appreciate it, but I think when I move, I'll miss it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like you said, it's kind of staying low to the ground, taking it easy when I can. I think that sounds good. And aimless wandering, I like that too.
Yeah, and maybe you aimlessly wander into the Midwest to help you
Yeah,
find the place too.
yeah. As long as I can bike around and there's like some vegan food and good community and a good cafe, and I can do some hopefully helpful work, meaningful work, I'm pretty happy. And we want to have more families, so certainly more affordable than Boulder.
Mm-hmm.
Boulder's
Well,
tough. Oh, good time to leave Boulder, honestly. A lot of the magic and weirdness that made Boulder wonderful is gone, but there's still so much here and amazing friends and lifelong. I mean, I grew up here. Anyway,
mm-hmm.
enough about me, but there's like every single day I see people I've known for 50 years now. So,
Well, new beginnings.
new beginnings.
Yeah.
Exactly. It'll be an adventure. But Angie, thank you as always. Love that your article is on elephant just in time for the my favorite New Year, which is the Eastern New Year, the meaningful New Year to me. And I also love the more conventional or Western New Year because it marks the passage of time and Old Lang Syne again. But thank you for your guidance. And how do people follow your work or get involved in your work, other than reading your amazing article on elephant?
Well, they'll start there, and you can follow me on Instagram at Anjie Cho, or you can check out my podcast. I have a lot of podcasts up right now about the Lunar New Year. It's called the Holistic Spaces Podcast.
Okay, the Holistic Spaces Podcast. Well, wonderful, Angie. Thank you yet again, and love
You're
from Poland.
welcome.
I was hoping I could get her to pop over, but she probably didn't see my text.
Well, congratulations again, though. You did change your chi a lot by getting married.
I did, and that's obviously, I would think, a good thing, right?
Yeah. No, it's equivalent to like the energy of the sun. It's boundless, and it's like a super happy energy.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you, and big love to all of you who commented, and to the Midwest.
Bye.
And to Angie, most of all.
Happy New Year.
All right. Hey, thank you. Happy New Year. Good luck to us all.